Hello everyone. I told you I was going to restart the carnivore in a more serious way, and I did. I made a lovely video for you. I started on Monday, April Fool's Day, and I gave up my coffee, and I came up and I made a lovely video for you to tell you about my carnivore journey, where I was starting and what my goals were. You know, my goals are not only weight loss, although right now weight loss is the one thing that I have that is still of the most concern to me. I don't have problems with my lungs. I never had blood pressure problems. I don't have glucose problems, but I understand that carnivore will help people with all of those kinds of things. And let me put in this disclaimer. I don't know that for sure. There are studies that say it helps certain things, and there are doctors, and you can go to Dr. Chafee, and he has all the references. I don't know, and I'm not telling you what to do. So that's my disclaimer. And along with that, I might as well ask you to hit the like and subscribe button, because now I understand why people do that. So day one, I started over. You know, I kind of quasi started about 3 weeks ago, and I started it where I was 199.7, so pushing the 200, kind of hard, you know. And after 5 days, I was down to 192. Well, I decided to celebrate, and then we had all kinds of, Steve went to the hospital for, a test. Turned out great. It didn't take that long. But the anticipation of that creates an extra stress. And when you're first starting in your first week, and I was stupid to do that, you don't need the extra stress, and the whole shopping and what do I buy, how do I prepare, I really wasn't up to it. So, and we rewarded ourselves by going out to our favorite place for breakfast and having, we had, I had an omelet, but it had chili and cheese in it, and it had hash browns, and it had bread, toast, and I even put jelly on my toast. So I wasn't really doing the carnivore thing. So I did start the carnivore. I did load up on some good steaks and lamb, and bought some ground meat on sale, not grass-fed because I can't afford it. But it was, I did get a whole bunch of ground meat. It was $2.99 for 80/20, which I thought was a great deal. Sometimes I can get it even a little cheaper. So let me tell you what was happening and what the plans are. I started on Monday, and I gave up coffee. And there's a whole reason why I gave up coffee. I'm not telling everybody else. Even Dr. Chafee says have a cup of coffee. I didn't have a cup of coffee. I had 2 pots of coffee. And I put, even though it was 0 fat, or what was it? No sugar added. Let's kid ourselves, It had 15 chemicals. And I had that, and I would have cocoa butter, when I would be on the carnivore diet with my coffee. I can tell you for a fact that coffee has a bad influence on me, because when I had psoriasis, I was fine up until I started drinking coffee, and then it would get really, really bad. So my immune system doesn't tolerate it. And I did notice, after, really when we got up to the 2 pots a day, my knees were hurting. They were inflamed. That I wasn't doing carnivore at the time, but it doesn't make any difference. It was a definite impact. So there is that with coffee for me. Now, I have to wonder, how am I going to get enough fat? Because, and even the bulletproof guy says, oh yeah, get yourself a really good strong cup of coffee or even hot chocolate and load it up with, with fats. Well, that's great. And I did load it up with, cocoa butter is a fat. But without coffee, how am I going to get enough fat? I went to my go-to, and that was cheese. So my first day for breakfast, I had steak, eggs, burger with cheese, and bacon. Yeah, I only ate a little bit of everything. So it wasn't like I was, really chowing down on 10 pounds of food. And so and whatever was left over, I ate throughout the day. I did put a slice of American cheese on my burger, and I broiled it. So it was pretty good. And then I think for dinner I had more steak, and I put blue cheese on it and butter naturally. And then the next day we had lamb, eggs, bacon, and I even got some, those organic, nothing added hot dogs, which are, they become a go-to thing. So I've decided I'm not buying any more of those. We ate the packages Applegate, organic beef, grass-fed beef, all beef, and no sugar added hot dogs. They're pretty tasty. The problem is you get used to doing that, and you really do need to go, not necessarily with a steak, but a meat, some kind of meat. And even, I just re-listened to Dr. Chafee today, and he even said, don't worry if it's not beef or lamb, if it's fish, if it's chicken, So I might go to my go-to, which used to be chicken wings. I ate chicken wings every day for a month once and dropped 10 pounds. And I put ghee on them. I would throw them in the air fryer for 10 minutes. How long would I throw them in the air fryer for? 12 minutes. And then I would go and I'd slather both sides with ghee and then do another 12 minutes and then take them out. And if I had some kind of dressing or something, I would coat them up, put them back in for another 3 or 4 minutes and get them really crispy. Now Steve will not have any of the sauces on his, and I was using, I think it's Hughes. Is it C Hughes or G Hughes? Oh well, I'll show you. And I was using the chili Thai zero fat, zero sugar, zero carbs, and that was one of my go-tos. It helped me get back into carnivore. Steve was eating steaks and I was eating chicken wings. And I'm probably going to think about doing that again because we should rename this channel to The Struggling Carnivore. I struggle with it. I know a lot of you struggle with it. What do I buy? How can I afford it? What am I going to, do? I'm on my way to the grocery store now, and I had to watch about 4 or 5 other people's videos just to find out what do the rest of my community do. So let's talk about our community. Oh, so after today's Thursday, I started on Monday, April Fool's Day, and it was naturally giving up the coffee. I was fatigued. The second day, I did drop 2 pounds, and I was more fatigued, but worse than that, I had a headache. And there are ways to get around that, and I'm not going to talk about it, but I did have the headache, and I did have the fatigue, and I pretty much slept Tuesday. And I also had, and this is one of the things you have to be aware of, especially us old people, when you go on a carnivore diet, don't expect to go out in places a lot for long periods of time because you have to have a bathroom nearby. Your body, especially your gut, is going to drop most of the whatever's in it. And for a little woman, and I don't mean little by weight, I mean just I'm 5'2". For a small person, I put out a lot of stuff. I had to go to the bathroom constantly, and I mean run, but I made it. I didn't need any Depends. I didn't need to worry that much like I used to, but I did feel myself purging. I did feel myself cleaning out, and I did feel my gut was ready to release whatever was in it and get rid of all of that. I did start on Wednesday. Both of us said we need something hot. Giving up the coffee was a struggle because we enjoy it. We love it. And I don't know, maybe someday I'll have another cup once. If I could get it down to 1 cup, I might be all right. But I did make some hot water, and I did put butter in it. I did try unsalted butter, and it was like, not really. I was shocked. I made tea, which helped with the caffeine withdrawals, and I was shocked that salted butter tastes really good in tea. So there's that. So I'm down to 192. Yeah, not yet in ketosis. The first time I did carnivore, I got to ketosis and I dropped a pound a day. And I was telling Steve, I'm like, oh, I'm not losing a pound a day. And he said, the first time you did carnivore, you were almost 50 pounds heavier, so you had a lot more to lose. I still have a lot to lose. My goal is 130 or maybe 135. We'll see. That is not my only goal. It's one of my goals. My goal is to get back the energy and the skin and the vitality, all of that. You know, this is terrible because I was a love child. I love this feeling of euphoria. It's not chemically induced, but it is awesome. I actually found a Facebook post from last year when I was really doing great on carnivore, and it was talking about this feeling of joy, this daily feeling of joy. And that's what happens when you don't have any inflammation. You don't have anything obstructing you feeling like what you want to do, what's in the way. So for today, and it is Thursday, so I am on day 4, not yet into ketosis. I sort of saw maybe I'm heading that way, a tiny little twinge on the ketone strips, and I used to check every single time I went to the bathroom. I only do it once in the morning now. So yeah, get your ketone sticks, get your hamburger, get your steaks, get your lamb, whatever you're going to eat. Load up lots of butter, and don't worry about the coffee. And what I loved about Dr. Chafee, he said, is if you screw up one day, don't worry about it, because you can get up in the next day and go on. The beauty about carnivore is when you go to the grocery store, you walk past all the aisles and go straight to the meat department, and it's easy. Meat and eggs. And I'm going to give you a hint. There have been times when I've gotten up on carnivore and I've had way too many eggs. Not because of the problem with cholesterol, but because eggs are a very lean protein. So if you're doing too much of the whites with the eggs, you really need to have you need to have the fat and the animal on the bone. So don't. And I'm terrible. Like I said, we should rename this to the struggling carnivore. Because if I find something that I like, I go to it to obsession. So I have to be careful not to live on eggs, And they don't hurt me, but they don't help me lose weight and they don't help me achieve that status of joy. So I hope I gave you some tidbits of good information. I'm going to head off to the grocery store. I did check out all the sales and I know what I want to get. A lot of ribeyes. Lamb is on sale because we're right after Easter season. And I found that my favorite grocery store, the one I go to for all my cleaning supplies and everything else, the local place, they are carrying grass-fed now. And they're, I'm and pasture raised and eggs and all of that. And so I'm going to go for it. So I hope to see you tomorrow.